Yeah.
Should I tell a girl I know that her boyfriend has a Grindr profile?
Ooh, how did you find out about that? Why, is she on Grindr? Why would she
Oh,
know?
so this is a male. This
Oh,
is a
okay.
dude.
Okay.
This is a gay man who's his friend, his
Oh,
girlfriend,
no.
his pal.
Yeah.
He's looking on Grindr.
Found her boyfriend.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So he says I was on Grindr and I saw the profile of my friend's fiance.
Oh,
They
fiance?
have 2 kids together, live together, all of that. So I'm so close to messaging her with a profile being like, hey, do you know he's doing this? But I just really wanted to make sure it was the right thing to do and that it wouldn't make me a shitty homewrecker. My
Mm-hmm.
head is going with, if that's my man, I'd want to know, but I feel conflicted as fuck. They could be in an open relationship and it's none of my business, but his profile doesn't mention a relationship or anything. Do I tell her? Do I get involved?
That's tricky. I would
Mm,
say it depends how close you are with her. If like you have to send her a message, i.e., she's just a Facebook friend, like you don't have her actual phone number. I don't know if that's the case, but if that is the case, I'd say maybe stay out of it. Cause like
but what about, okay, what about if it was,
if it was a close friend,
yeah,
like somebody that you know, oh, that makes it more that you should, but maybe reach out to the guy. I don't know. That's tough. I feel like I would want to know, but I also know that getting involved in somebody's relationship is such a
yeah,
pain in the ass for everybody involved. Like,
it's a mind trap. But, to me, like, somebody puts themselves out on an app, there's really a good chance they're going to get caught,
yeah. Well,
So,
maybe he's thinking because it's Grinder, but yeah, like somebody's gonna see that.
but I would go to that whole, well, maybe she knows, maybe it's okay.
But what if she doesn't? And like, but is that how you want to find out? Is because somebody messaged you, or even if it's your friend? I don't know.
So this goes to the conversation of if your partner was cheating on you and your
Mm,
girlfriends knew, would you want them to tell you? Would you be angry? Would you
yeah.
be angry if they didn't tell you?
Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
want everybody to know something about me that I don't know.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? Like, that would suck so bad. Everybody's talking about it, and you're just like, boopity,
And
living
you're
your
just like,
life.
he's the best guy.
And then you're telling a story, and then Karsten like bought me flowers, and all your friends are going, he
Mm.
also bought Brenda flowers or whatever, right? Like,
That neighbor we were talking
yeah,
about, the hall pass neighbor.
shit.
Never should have given him that hall pass.
Yeah, I definitely,
What would you do?
it's
What would
hard
you
though.
do
I really,
when you're on Grindr and you see?
when I'm on Grinder and I see my friend's fiance too, like,
Yeah,
it's
and
just,
they have children, so
I think it makes it so much different when because it's not even, he's just on a different dating profile trying to get other chicks. Like, this is actually his identity,
yeah.
like maybe he hasn't come out to anybody. Like, this is maybe him just experimenting and trying to figure out if he even is gay. Like, we don't know any of these stories and what the reason, like, this could be him just being like, I don't think I'm gay, but I kind of like to get my dick sucked sometimes. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And like, just, it won't hurt
Like, I think
her.
that if a guy just wants to get his dick sucked, sometimes that he's bi. Like,
I agree, but like,
yeah,
it's hard for somebody to admit that about themselves, right? A lot of the time people like won't, they're like, no, not me, or
it's,
whatever,
you
right?
know what? It is still sociably unacceptable no matter what you say.
Yeah.
Like, for instance, if Karsten was bisexual,
Yeah.
he would not tell his friends. He would not. Men are not
No.
allowed to say that. It's okay for women
Yeah.
to say I'm bi. Like, I really believe that if you have if you are bisexual as a male, I think a young man is easier. So
Yeah.
I think that now these
Yeah.
guys that are like 16, 17, 18, even 20,
Yeah.
like a lot of like Amanda's friends and
Mhm.
stuff would say, oh yeah, for sure, I'm bisexual, I've had sex with both.
Mhm.
But definitely men my age and probably your age too, it's unmanly to have
Yeah.
those feelings. I don't think it's unmanly,
Yeah.
but I think that
There's still stigma.
there's so much stigma around it.
Yeah.
So like I instantly feel both like, is this guy betraying his partner?
Yeah.
And I also feel a little sad for him and like that you can't embrace
Oh.
your identity.
There's and the fact that they have 2 kids and everything too, he's probably super conflicted, and that's kind of why I'm just like, oh man, like if you do get involved, like now you're involved, but she does deserve to know, and I hope, Like, maybe if you have his contact, you just reach out to him and say, "Hey,
What?
I'm thinking about maybe I'm kind of conflicted. Like, I'm not saying I'm gonna tell her, but it's kind of weighing on my mind, and I don't want to like put you in a tricky situation. I don't know if you happen to know the boyfriend or the fiance. It's a very tricky situation. I had recently somebody reach out to me because they wanted they so it- I happen to know the girl and the guy. I'm not very close with either of them.
Mm-hmm.
I knew they were dating though, just because of social media and like friends of friends. I got the girl reached out to me and said, "Hey, do you have time to talk?" Like, cause she'd reached out to me for advice on stuff before. Do you want? I broke up with him and I kind of want to talk to you about it. And I had to think, because my first intention is, sure, yeah, call me. And then I'm like, I don't think I want to. Like, I
Yeah.
don't think it's smart for me to get involved.
Yeah.
So I actually reached out to him, and I don't talk to him very often either. And I said, okay, this is what happened. She reached out to me. She wants to talk. I don't.
Why did she want to talk to you?
Just to, I think she just needs
Just
to
needs an ear?
she needs to rehash what's going on.
Yeah.
So then I just said to him, I don't want to know the details of your breakup. I'm gonna if I do end up talking to her, I'm probably just gonna say I think you guys just leave it alone. Essentially, stop because I'm like, neither of you want to get back together. What is the point of even talking about this? So, and he goes, yeah, no, I appreciate it, thanks. And he kind of filled me in on a little bit of it or whatever. The old me, like a few years ago, because I'm like,
I want to know everything.
Well, yeah, and then he said this and she said this. I'd always be involved somehow in people's stuff. And the more I think about it, I'm like, oh, I don't want to be involved. Like, I don't know the details. I don't want to get opinions, because once you hear one side, then you're involved, and then you know all the stories, and then...
Like, I think that if I'd found out that, my best friend, her husband was cheating and she didn't know, I think that I would feel in my heart of hearts that I'd either have to tell him that he's going to tell her.
Yeah.
Or I would have to tell her what I think I think I would have to.
Well, you can't go on with your life knowing something like that and not sharing it. If you're good friends with that person, I think that makes a big difference about how close you are to that person. Because imagine, like, I know Greg's cheating on you, but I still come over here every day and pretend I don't. Like, come on.
Is it with you?
Well, of course. He's not gonna cheat with somebody else. But that's the thing, though, right? Like, then you'd be mad at me. It's like you've known for this long and you couldn't even tell me.
I would be mad at you. Definitely.
Totally. It's like the friend, even if Karsten finds out something. I remember a long time ago, our friends found out they were pregnant and they told Karsten a few days before me because she wanted to tell me separately. And he knew for like, let's say 3 days before.
And you were mad at him?
I was pissed at him. I'm like, what else have you lied to me about? I think looking back now, I don't think I would be mad in that situation, but it's the same idea. It's like, there's certain people you have a relationship with that you need to tell things to, and especially if it involves them.
Okay, what about the situation goes where you hear that you're best friends with somebody, a couple, and you find out that he's drunk and he drunk kissed somebody at the bar or whatever, and this is a one-off.
Oh, that's different. A drunk kiss? I don't know.
Like, I would not.
No.
If I saw Karsten drunk kissing somebody and I knew, and I'd be like, oh, like, dude, that was bad. I'd probably tell him. I'd be like,
if you spent enough time with us and you knew it was a one-off, but if it was, that's the thing, is like, it depends, because if you saw it, it'd be like, does he do this every time he goes out?
Yeah.
That'd be different. But if you knew us really well and we spent all the time together, you could tell he was fall down drunk and it was just like a stupid mistake and you happen to catch it. That's different. And you know him well enough to know it was a one-time thing.
I probably wouldn't tell you.
And I think that's actually okay. Yeah. But there's so many different levels to it, just like everything, right?
God.
So it's just, if it's a really good friend and you're like, okay, well, I know this thing about him and I know he's probably going to do it again, and I know he's on this website and I know he's...
So back to the Grindr website. Yeah. I probably would tell my friend.
I think you need to tell your friend.
So... Okay, so spoiler alert, like this was on Reddit, and he did an edit, and he said he did end up telling his friend, and he said he just sent her the profile picture and said, just wanted you to know, be aware, and she didn't respond, and then a couple days later she said, yeah, he's exploring his bisexuality, and I'm aware.
Oh, so interesting.
Yeah, so it all turned out to be whether he would have said something or not. It would have been fine.
But do you think, and this could be true too, is that because it took her a couple days to respond?
Well, she might have been embarrassed.
Or she saw it, was like, what the fuck is this? They had the conversation. He told, And to save face, she said, I knew about it already.
That's totally possible.
Because if it takes you a couple days to respond too, because if she read it and she had that, oh no, it's fine. Most people, you would kind of respond right away.
Or you might be like, it's none of your goddamn business.
That's true.
You know?
They probably weren't that close of friends then, I would say. Like, it was probably just one of those peripheral people that you know on
I
Facebook.
think that I'd be like, oh my God, please don't tell anybody else. You know, like, let's keep this between us. Don't put it on Reddit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Human relationships are so complicated.
They really are, and it's like that friend I was saying, like I ended up talking to her on the phone and I just said, okay, why do you feel like you need to go over this with me? Like, for what reason? She goes, I just need closure. And I said, but you broke up a month ago. You guys do you want to get back together with him? Well, no. And I said, well, then what do you need closure for? You have closure. I'm like, you're spending so much time and energy.
Sounds to me like she just wanted you to tell her she was right.
She just wanted she wanted to complain about him to somebody who knew him, I think. And I wasn't having it. I'm like, I don't know him anymore. I haven't seen him in years. Like, I don't.
You did the right thing. Good for you. That's a grown-up thing.
I know. I'm actually impressed with myself because normally I'd be like, oh, and then what happened? Yeah. But I was like, I don't see I'm like, you know how much energy you've spent thinking about this in the past month? Because I know she's reached out to other people too.
It's really immature.
It is. So I'm like, you're using all this energy to think about this when you could be using that energy for something else. I'm like, how are you... Like, oh, I understand. Like, you know, she ended up kind of understanding by the end of it. Who knows if she's going to take the advice, but I'm like,
no.
Like, you know, when something just consumes your mind. I've been there. I was young too. And it's like all you can think
is she a lot younger than you?
Not a lot younger. Like, I think maybe 4 or 5 years
that's
younger.
Enough.
Yeah.
That's enough.
But yeah, she, I don't know. I'm like, so we're done. We're done talking about it. You should be done talking about it. I'm like, it's getting nicer outside. Go find some friends and walk and talk and laugh and giggle and be happy and stop thinking about this guy. You guys are like, it doesn't matter. Yeah. She's saying all the negative things.
It's hard to say that though, and because sometimes, like, I know me and Greg broke up. I would probably need to talk about it for a long time, but how long? Like, at what point do you go?
But it also depends on the level of relationship. They had been together 3 months, and and a month and a half of it was good, and then the rest was like kind of not good. So that's what I said. I'm like, it was a month and a half, it was 3 months of your life. Chalk it up to a learning experience.
That's like, what dating's about. You're like, okay, this isn't working. Like let's
why
move
are
on.
you I'm like, why are you still thinking about this?
Okay.
Well, because he said he loves me. I said I could tell the mailman I love him. I'm like, just because I say it doesn't mean anything.
Hey, here's another topic of conversation, and I hear it in every fucking love song. It's like, he promised me love me forever, and now he's with that other bitch. That is such a theme, and I'm thinking, we all do that when you're with somebody and you have those emotions and
endorphins
and you're horny and you're like, oh my God, I love you so much, I will love you forever.
I can't imagine not. And then as soon as you come, you're like, oh, never mind. That was just the
that was sorry about that. Right?
I just needed to come in you.
Okay, but it's a thing. So when women say, well, he told me that he loved me, I'm just like, well, we all do that. And
my other advice to her is, I'm like, have you been going to therapy? And she said she has. I said, what have you been...
3 months?
Well, but she had therapy issues, like not issues, but she was going to therapy for other things before. And I said, you need to work on your self-love, girl. Like, stop putting your value on some dude loving you. It doesn't matter if he loves you. Love yourself. And I know that's so cheesy and like, I should make a meme about it.
A song.
Like, a song.
Is there a song?
Love yourself, probably. But it's just like, I think because I just love myself so much, I can't imagine. I'm like, what? Like, who cares if he says he loves you?
Exactly.
His actions did not show that.
Yeah.
At all. And it didn't work out. It's over. Yeah. Like, who cares? Like, stop thinking about it. But the moral of the story is not their issues. It's more like the getting involved in other people's shit.
Yeah.
I was like, my 10-minute drive, I was on my way to my massage, actually. This is all full circle. As soon as I got there, I said, okay, well, like, the conversation's done. Like, good luck. Please just go find some friends and giggle.
She just found another friend to talk to, so my guess. Yeah. But maybe she heard you. I would love to know.
Isn't that the best medicine? Just freaking giggling with your friends.
Yeah.
God, I love laughing. It's so good. Like, people who don't just, like, giggle all the time, I feel sorry for you.
It has a lot to do with being drunk, too. Me and my girlfriends used to get together, and we'd have these girls' nights when our kids were little. So we'd all pile into one house, and all the kids would all be sleeping in the basement, and we would get so drunk.
Yeah.
Like, you know, your babies are running around, but there's nothing that no one... Well, they could get hurt, I guess, and we were all too drunk to know. But all you would do is laugh and talk about sex.
You gotta be with the right friends, too, who are just in the mood to laugh. Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. I love where your stomach hurts and your face hurts from laughing.
It's the best. It's
Love
the
it.
best. That's our advice to you today. Just
giggle.
Have a good laugh. Exactly. All right. That's all for today.
I think so, yeah. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in to the It's Really None of Our Business podcast.
You can find us on Facebook and
Instagram,
YouTube, and all the other places. Until next time.
Bye.
Bye. It's none of our business. It's none of our business.